Commander Darius Vex had never failed a mission, not once in 18 years of blood-soaked service. He was Earth's finest, a symbol of everything the Terran Corps stood for: loyalty, grit, and brutal efficiency. When the Galactic Council summoned Earth to participate in a joint peacekeeping operation on Virex 7, Darius didn't question the motives. Orders were orders. His unit was dispatched without hesitation. They were told it was a mop-up job: contain rebel insurgents, stabilize the region, leave the flag behind. What they found was a meat grinder. The landing zone was hot, far hotter than any recon had indicated. Council-assigned aerial support vanished mid-flight. Communications jammed. Supply drops never came. Alien insurgents knew their positions in advance, laying ambushes with precision that only inside information could provide. One by one, his soldiers fell, not because they lacked skill, but because someone wanted them to die. Darius watched Corporal Juno, barely 24, get torn apart by plasma fire. He dragged Sergeant Malco's body for half a click before he realized the man was already dead. By the third day, half his squad was gone. On the fourth, they ran out of ammo. On the fifth, air support finally arrived, but not to rescue. The sleek Black Council gunships hovered just long enough to confirm there were no survivors. Then they left. He knew then. This wasn't incompetence. It was execution. When the final wave hit, Darius held the line with a scavenged alien repeater, firing until his arms went numb and the weapon overheated. His armor was breached. His lungs burned with Virexian spores. He collapsed beside a crater filled with Terran blood. Darkness followed. He awoke days later, alone and buried in rubble. The bodies of his men surrounded him. Good soldiers, loyal soldiers, used like bait. His arm was shattered. His right eye gone. His rank insignia, torn off during the fight, lay beside him like a joke. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just lay still, listening to the distant hum of Council ships retreating into the upper atmosphere. Darius Vex, once Earth's sword in the stars, was now officially Kia. Disavowed, forgotten, but he wasn't dead. He stitched his wounds with combat wire and burned the infection with reactor gel. He scavenged, crawled, and hunted until he found a smuggler's ship abandoned in a canyon, half-crushed but with a working core. He didn't send a distress signal. He didn't call Earth. He didn't trust anyone. Virex 7 was a tomb, and he had risen from it like something else, something the Council had not accounted for. The Galactic Council expected loyalty. They bred compliance with credits and control, but they didn't understand Earth. They didn't understand the kind of loyalty that burns hotter after betrayal, or the kind of man who returns from hell not for medals or revenge, but to make sure no one forgets what was done. He had no rank now, no command, no flag on his shoulder, just names in his head, and a list that had just begun. Darius Vex, last of his unit, set a course into unregulated space, where Council oversight faded and rumors traveled faster than facts. He was going hunting. Darius Vex vanished into the border systems like a phantom swallowed by the void. There were no official records, no surveillance traces. The Council assumed the planet had consumed him. Another Terran body added to the statistical margin of error. But whispers began to spread. Outposts burned to the ground. Supply ships vanished without distress calls. Black site data caches were breached with surgical precision. No survivors. No clues. Just a message carved into bulkheads in scorched Terran script. Remember Virex 7. He never used his name. Never left witnesses. The galaxy began to speak of a ghost, something cold, methodical, unrelenting. He struck only those connected to the Council's betrayal: war profiteers, vote brokers, intel officers who sold Earth's unit out in closed-door sessions. Each time, the strike was clean. No political statements. No demands. Just erasure. Vex didn't care about justice. Justice required courts and governments. He was the consequence. The debt collector for broken oaths and buried comrades. He learned to live between signal shadows, forging identities that lasted just long enough to buy munitions or gather intelligence. The outer worlds had no love for the Council. Many welcomed the strikes, though they didn't know who to thank or fear. The Ghost didn't speak. He simply removed targets like tumors. Some said he was working for the Terran Resistance. Others claimed he was a rogue AI built by Earth to punish betrayal. A few believed he wasn't human at all, just vengeance made flesh. Darius let the myths grow. They kept eyes looking in the wrong places. He adapted. No longer bound by Earth's command structure, he developed tactics that merged human unpredictability with alien tech. He modified stolen weapons to suit Terran reflexes. He outfitted his body with off-grid cybernetic repairs. Unlicensed, brutal, efficient. Pain didn't matter. Recognition didn't matter. Only the mission remained. When he intercepted a shipment manifest listing a Council logistics officer named Halrek Vaughn, Darius didn't hesitate. Vaughn had overseen the mission briefing that sent Earth's team to Virex 7. Officially, the man was retired. In reality, he was managing arms deals from a remote moon hub under Council protection. Vaughn's base was silent within 15 minutes of Darius landing. No alarms, no firefights, just silence, and then the explosion of the central command node broadcast across the system. Files were dumped into pirate networks. Every encrypted order leading to Virex 7's betrayal was made public. The Council scrambled to contain the leak, but the damage was done. Darius didn't stay to watch. He was already gone, moving toward the next name. The Council began shifting resources. Internal security increased. Propaganda spiked. They claimed a terrorist human element was destabilizing peace efforts. Darius took that as confirmation. They feared him. They didn't fear Earth. Not really. But they feared what Earth could become if more like him survived. He intercepted garbled transmissions from independent human colonies, pockets of settlers, miners, and refugees who viewed him as a symbol. He didn't encourage them. He didn't recruit. But he didn't stop them either. If Earth wouldn't protect its legacy, others would rise in its image. He left caches for them. Weapons, intel, coordinates. Never a signature. They called themselves the Ash Circle. They spread his mark. Remember Virex 7. Not to honor the fallen, but to warn the living. The more the Council suppressed the truth, the louder the myth grew. Darius became more than a man. He became a trigger. Every system he touched began to spiral. Corruption exposed, loyalty fractured. Not because he gave speeches, but because he proved what one betrayed Terran soldier could do with no backing, no politics, and no mercy. He didn't want fame. He didn't want a seat at the table. He wanted every single one of them to understand this truth. Humanity forgives slow, but it never forgets. And when it comes back, it doesn't knock. The Council escalated. Quietly, they commissioned a series of Black Ops teams, multi-species units trained to erase problems without questions. These weren't enforcers. They were erasers, meant for threats that couldn't be acknowledged. Their mission: eliminate the Terran anomaly destabilizing the outer systems. Darius knew they were coming before they did. He'd been listening, scrubbing relay data, tracing anonymous bounty slips, intercepting encrypted chatter meant only for the inner circle. The Council had finally said his name in their war rooms. That was their mistake. He chose his next target carefully. Commander Zerai, a Khorne strategist, decorated Council General, and the one who had approved the false intelligence briefing that sealed Earth Squad's fate on Virex 7. She operated from a floating city ship orbiting the gas giant Mavros. Fortified, guarded by elite drone swarms and commandos bred in zero-G. A fortress by any definition. Darius got inside in less than 2 days. He didn't go for an all-out assault. He triggered controlled chaos, ruptured coolant lines, false evacuation alarms, and system-wide data ghosting that made every screen show hallucinated Terran troop movements. Zerai's defenses folded inward, scrambling for threats that didn't exist. That's when he struck. She didn't beg. She didn't even deny it. She simply told him Earth was getting too loud. Then she reached for her weapon. It didn't matter. She was dead before she stood. He left her body in the main hall, marked with the same scorched words. Remember Virex 7. He knew what would follow. The Council deployed 3 hunter squads to intercept him. Augmented. Silent. designed for zero-witness elimination. They tried to corner him in the drifting ruins of an abandoned research ark. He turned the terrain against them. Microgravity combat, timed EMPs, throat-level tactics. 2 squads never even saw him. The third sent a warning home. We are not hunting a man. We're being judged. Darius left that last one alive on purpose. Fear was more effective than corpses. The Council still hadn't grasped the scale of what they created. Every move they made to silence him only amplified the message. The galaxy was watching, and some were rooting for him. He began leaking fragments, carefully selected footage, classified recordings, corrupted logs pointing to Earth's betrayal. Not enough to start a war, just enough to crack the illusion. Empires ran on trust, and trust bled faster than flesh. Resistance cells doubled. Council loyalists began questioning their orders. Even neutral systems started arming, not because they loved Earth, but because they feared who the Council would betray next. Darius wasn't naive. He knew none of it brought his squad back. This wasn't redemption. It was mathematics. Remove the ones responsible. Expose the rot. Force evolution by fire. He intercepted a final target list. Council operatives earmarked for transfer to hidden safe worlds. Every name was connected to Virex 7. Every name was marked for disappearance. They were cleaning house, trying to erase the crime by erasing the witnesses. He acted faster. Within a week, 3 of those operatives were dead. The 4th disappeared, only to reappear on a pirate broadcast, confessing to the entire Council operation under duress. Shaking, defeated, the confession couldn't be buried. It had been copied to 100 relay networks, translated into dozens of species dialects. The Council scrambled to discredit it, but the damage had snapped into reality. Darius watched from the shadows. He felt no satisfaction, just clarity. The galaxy didn't need him to speak. It needed him to remind them that humanity does not vanish quietly. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was the final audit. The final name on his list wasn't a general or strategist. It was Counselor Velimar, the one who had signed the executive order sealing Operation Irongale. The paper trail was buried under 5 layers of encryption, but Darius found it. Velen hadn't just authorized the mission. He had orchestrated the cover-up, ensured Earth's diplomats were misled, and rerouted recovery assets away from Virex 7. He had made the decision that Darius and his squad were expendable for political convenience. Velen resided in the Deep Spire, a fortified station buried in the gravitational well of a dead star. No public access, no external docking permissions. Only shuttles with Council-level DNA clearance could approach without triggering vaporization protocols. That was fine. Darius didn't ask for permission. He spent weeks laying the groundwork. Forged identity sequences, corrupted the biometric gatekeepers, bribed a Canary tech priest with a shipment of rare Terran steel. He didn't storm the gates. He walked in under a different name. By the time Velen's security system flagged an anomaly, it was too late. He confronted Velen alone. No speeches, no offers, just a data core tossed at the Counselor's feet, its contents spilling onto every surface screen. Images of the fallen squad, intercepted comms, and the full voice logs of Velen giving the kill order. Velen tried to play politics, claimed it was necessary for the balance of the Council, that Earth had grown too aggressive. That war was averted. Darius didn't care. None of them had fought in that war. His men had. His voice was steady when he replied. Balance built on corpses collapses under weight. He needed it clean. No spectacle. No fire. Just one round, center mass. Velen felt like all the rest. But Darius didn't leave this time. He activated a short-range burst relay and sent the entire data package. Velen's confession, the full operational log of the betrayal, and the aftermath across the Council's internetworks. Not to the public, not to pirate streams, directly into the heart of their elite. No lies, no spin, just truth bleeding through every encrypted wall. He didn't stay to watch the fallout. The Council would implode or adapt. Either way, they'd never again sit in comfort without remembering the cost of betraying a Terran. He vanished after that. No more strikes. No more messages. Systems where he once operated fell silent. Some said he died in the deep spire. Others believed he returned to Earth in secret. A few claimed he watches the Council still from the edge of known space, waiting. What mattered was the legacy. The Ash Circle grew into a network. Not a rebellion, but a memory kept alive with precision. Every new Terran outpost bore the same warning. Etched in metal, stamped on consoles. No rank. No remorse. The phrase became more than a symbol. It became a doctrine. You betray humanity, and you bleed for it. Not because we want vengeance, but because we remember. And we never forget the last man who crawled out of a grave not to be saved, but to make sure the stars themselves remembered his fallen.